This is First Class, where the Jets are once again asking for your patience. I'm your host, Joey Bonsanti. Sitting across from me, Tony Vegas. I feel like every time I press the red record button, there's another 5 inches of snow on the ground outside. This is probably one of the worst winters we've had in a while. But Tony, how you doing?
Good dude. I mean, look, I don't have a house, so I don't have to shovel or anything like that. My parents don't ask me to shovel their house, so it doesn't really bother me, man. I get to work from home sometimes and kind of chill out. So we're hanging out here in Stamford, Connecticut, and the combine started this week, Joey. So we got some rumors flying from the infamous Tony Pauline, amongst others. So let's talk about it.
I love how when that report came out and Tony Pauline was like, and you're like, who is this guy? Like, is he
I know
reliable?
who he
And
is.
yeah, I know, but like every single person in the comments just kind of took it and was like, oh, this guy has no sources. This guy's the most unreliable. Like, yeah, I feel like every time.
I think it's true. I think he actually is pretty shitty of a source, but it's clickbait. I'm taking it. I'm cool with it.
With that being said, let's try to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, Tony Pauline.
uh, I have a little mini rundown here. We're going to start off with the pressers. I think that was the one thing that a lot of people were pointing out this week. Glenn had another a good banner quote for to head into next season, saying that calling defense is his calling card. What did you take away from the Mougey presser and the Glenn presser as a whole? I know it's kind of
Calling card. He
hoopla.
said superpower,
Superpower,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
even more crazy. I took like two quick things. Mougey definitely improved in the being a GM at the podium part of the job. It seemed like he almost gave me like creepy vibes the first time he was up on the podium when he first got hired. But he lost the button down shirt. He doesn't look like Montauk Mougey, as we love to call him over here. He got the Q zip going with the surfboard logo. It literally looks like a surf shop. But I think he did good. I think he did like a good job of answering questions without actually answering them. And unfortunately, like people will read into that, but the two things we got pretty much are Breece Hall is going to be tagged if he doesn't stay here, or if they can't work something out long term, and Justin Fields is just on the roster, so he's obviously gone. But these are things we probably knew anyway. Glenn, he seems to be pretty confident again, which is is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. But it's kind of funny to hear him, call play calling his superpower. It's like Superman being dropped in the most crime-riddled city in the U.S. and wearing a kryptonite necklace around his neck, just handcuffing himself from using said superpowers. So, I think it's stuff like that. Like he didn't mean to go, kind of viral with that quote. I think he just said it, didn't think much of it, and we're grasping at straws. So nothing crazy. Coach speak, GM speak. Not much you can take away, but the Breece thing's encouraging at least.
Yeah, Mougey did come out and pretty much say they were going to tag him in one way or the other. They're going to keep him around. They really want to keep him around. It seems like that's been in the conversations from both sides. The two biggest things I took was, number one, Mougey's quarter zip was fire, and I really want to buy it. I know the logo, that alternate logo, there's some split decision on that. I really like it. I think you like it as well. And then obviously the quote from Glenn about calling it his superpowers is funny, because you could beg the question, why, if they're your superpowers, why weren't you calling plays last year? And then why would you try to go and hire Wink Martindale for a lot of money to call plays again? So kind of just funny to look back on that and him saying it. Honestly, though, for the sake of his job, I better, you, him, anyone in the Jets organization should probably hope that is a superpower of his, and they could take that defensive unit up 15 to 18 slots to save his job. So again, I agree with you. A lot of coach speak and some of that stuff's not as interesting. I did appreciate the transparency on the Breece topic, though. That was good for sure.
I mean, he's out of excuses, right? He's going into a do or die year. Like, what is he gonna say, right? He's gonna puff his chest out about his play calling because it's the only thing he has left to lean on. Now that he, hired Steve Wilks, it was a huge failure. He fired Steve Wilks and still decided not to call plays. Called upon Chris Harris to call plays. That was even worse than Steve Wilks. And then it was pretty public knowledge that he tried to get, Wink Martindale in here. And it it's just like, what do you want the guy to say, right? Oh, I'm an okay play caller. I guess I'll take it because we couldn't, because Woody fucked me over this. No, he's not going to say that. He's going to say, I'm a great play caller. Let's do it. And we all know what happened. You know, you don't need us to tell you. He didn't want to call the plays, but they forced his hand into doing it. And, you know, it's good to see that, you know, he's at least confident about it. It's weird, you know, it's how he got the job in the first place. Not necessarily like his X's and O's was like magnificent, but, you know, he was the DC for the Lions. So, you know, lean on it, man. Let's see what you got. Do or die here.
And you know, he did mention like how in Detroit those defenses progressively got better. Now was over the course of a 4-year span. He doesn't have probably the 4 years to do the same here, but it's gonna have to be a quicker turnaround. And let's hope that he can do that for the sake of his job. And I also just want to say, me and Tony would love to see the Jets pick number 1 next year and pick a quarterback. At the same time, we would not be angry if the Jets won 8 games next year and Aaron Glenn was the coach of the future. So, I mean, I don't want to get that twisted. It's pretty early on. I know a lot of people who listen probably will say, oh, well, you guys just want us to tank and lose out next year. No, but you just look at the odds of it, right? Instead, what is likely to go down and him being fired at the end of this is probably a likely scenario. But I'm not rooting against him. I really am not.
No. I think I'm more so just worried that they're going to win like 5 games. That's no man's land. He still gets fired, and we get stuck with the 6th pick. And what do you do, man? If you know the Dolphins have the first pick and they're not trading out, and you know whoever out, you know, what do you do? There's always those people that are like, you know, you have 3 first rounders. What if the top 3 don't want to trade? Like, you know, it's always possible. So I either want 0 wins or I want like 8 wins, and Aaron Glenn's great. I just don't want to be a treadmill. Put all your chips on the table and spend money to win 5 games, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So let's move on to Breece Hall, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. Kind of looking at the team with him there, and looking at Mougey and Glenn, the way they want to approach this offseason, it really doesn't make sense to let him walk from the roster perspective. I mean, me and you are both kind of in the same boat where if he walks, we'd be disappointed because we didn't get an asset for him.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, you're taking away a really dynamic playmaker from the offense. And from their eyes, you would think that they would not want to let him go. What do you ultimately think as of now? You know, I know Mougey came out and said they're probably going to tag him, but do you think they come to an extension agreement? Or do you think it's just going to be like franchise tag or possible like tag and trade, which I'd be open to?
I think most likely scenario is they come to like a 2-year agreement and they put the transition tag on him. That's basically just like all right, you go out to the market and let another team negotiate the deal for us, and we'll probably end up matching it unless you sign like, I don't know, a 3-year, $38 million deal or something like that they're not comfortable with. It's essentially just saying, you know, have another team do it and we'll probably match. I don't think another team's going to do that. I think ultimately both sides are going to be like, all right, look, like, you know, maybe a 1-year 1+1 deal makes the most sense. Some guaranteed money. I just feel like that's kind of like inevitable. I don't think they're going to flat out franchise him because it's going to be a good chunk of change. And, you know, it's dangerous for running backs. I don't think Breece wants a 1-year, you know, deal. Like, it doesn't make much sense. What if he tears his ACL, hits the open market, and, you know, there's not much out there for him? You know, I think he'd rather like 2 years of stability. We don't want another hole at running back for, you know, another 2 years. He's 24, very capable running back, as like kind of your workhorse guy, can catch the ball. So I just think logically they're going to come to terms on like a 2-year, $23.5 million deal, something like that. I think that'd be fair for him. And anything else other than that, if he straight up walks, then I'd be absolutely shocked because, you know, man, you should have taken the 4th from the Chiefs, but hindsight's 2020, I guess.
Yeah, I think he will ultimately be on this team next year. And I mean, with the mopiness and the negative attitude, I guess we'll take it for what it is, and we'll just get a really good running back to help whoever the hell the quarterback is, which we'll get into that as well a little bit later on in the episode. Now, another thing that kind of, it wasn't on my list, but, you know, Mougey kind of insinuated that AVT is probably going to hit the open market. I was a little shocked that they haven't I mean, I think if he hits the open market, he's gone personally. I just don't see a world where someone won't overpay for him just because of the type of player he is. And I mean, me and you look at the injuries. Anyone else could look at the injuries and say, wow, that's kind of a couple freak incidents with the triceps. Do you have that feeling too, where if he hits the open market, he's just goner?
I don't know, man. It's tough. I would put it at like a coin flip if he hits the open market. I think it's just such a volatile player, right? Because at his absolute peak, I mean, he's probably you know, he's probably one of your best two linemen on any offensive line in the NFL if he's healthy. I would say, he has versatility. Can play guard, center, not center. Can play guard, tackle on both sides. It's like, you look at like the Raiders, right? They have a shit ton of money. They're going to want to protect Fernando Mendoza. Like, it wouldn't shock me at all if they let him hit the open market and the Raiders hand him like $18 million a year. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm going to go to Vegas. It wouldn't shock me if he wants to get the hell off this MetLife turf. But I don't know, Joey. It's like one of the weirder ones where I was like 70% sure he'd be back in some capacity. I don't know how I thought they would just strike a deal early because, with the injuries and whatnot, maybe they can get a bargain, but it makes sense from his end, man. Like, why not? Why would you limit yourself to negotiating with one team when you can literally let the market set your value? And, a team with a shitty offensive line, much like the Raiders, like I mentioned, they very well could throw a crazy contract at him and say, look, he tore his triceps, opposite arms twice, and his Achilles once. These are weird injuries. Hopefully it won't happen again. And let's throw him the bag. So makes sense for him. Sucks for us. I really did not want to lose him.
I know. I'm really down on that. And obviously it seems like Simpson's probably going to be gone too.
I think he's already you can cross him off.
Foregone conclusion. So if you lose both of those guys, you are kind of opening a hole up, which I think could be patched in free agency plus the draft. You really do. And I know you were talking about this a couple weeks ago. You think about what the ceiling could be for that team if everyone's healthy and and the continuity. I mean, AVT's been here since 21, and it's a player that I wanted the Jets to trade up for and thought he was really great, and he has been great when he's not injured. But gosh, I'm not too worried about it because even if they lose both of those guys, they will be able to fill that hole, even if it's an average guy. And then you're kind of going into the season with your hopefully great bookend tackles, and you have Tittman and then Myers, who's a serviceable center. So
yeah, you can survive with that.
Yeah, it's that on paper doesn't sound like the worst thing, and we've had way worse offensive lines.
Yeah, like at least you have your tackles in one of your guard spots, or if you want to put Tittman back at center, I think you keep him at guard. But Myers is locked up. Tittman, it's just one spot. And John Simpson was very replaceable last year, and I don't feel like our line was terrible, right? So, it's it is what it is. That Daniel Jeremiah mock of us taking the Penn State guard at 16 kind of scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
If they take a lineman in the first round for the 18th time in a row, I'd be like, all right, dude, get some fast guys out here, man. Let's go.
Yeah, that is really becoming old though. I'm happy we have the young talent on the offensive line that we do, but
you can't pay all of them too, right? You're gonna have to pay Membu. At some point, you're just going to have to fill these holes. Dude, we don't have a third round pick. Take a fucking fourth round guard, throw him in between, Myers, an experienced center, and, Membu. And I'm sure he'll be fine, right? Eagles do it. You don't have to have a bazillion first round picks on the line. Although I love taking linemen in the first round. It's great.
Yeah, because it's a good, hopefully, lock. Normal teams do find talent on the offensive line outside the first 50
Trey
picks.
Smith. I remember I wanted Trey Smith. I forget what was up with him. And I was like, why the fuck is Trey Smith in the 5th round? And the Chiefs took him. And I'm like, that's going to be a steal. And he's unbelievable. It's weird that I knew that one.
I'm trying to think of the last time the Jets have picked an offensive lineman later than
Max Mitchell.
Yeah, he was a good swing guy. But I'm talking about
Clark. Remember him?
Yes, I do. Who had the neck injury and unfortunately his career fizzled out. But
the guy from Pitt. From Pitt.
Pitt, the college? Not
yes.
Pittsburgh.
Oh my gosh. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look it up. Well, we continue on here, but
yes,
I think we should. Actually, you don't know what I had on my rundown when I said QB big board.
Carter Warren,
Carter Warren. I mean,
4th round pick from Pitt. Yeah, that was it. And then we tried to. There was a legitimate ESPN tweet. Well, I forget who did it. Where it was like they're looking to trade him, and he's a good, serviceable tackle. I was like, okay, who? Carter Warren? Are we talking about the same guy?
I would, nonetheless, it would be nice to pick up like a plus starter in the 5th round or something for once in our lives, but we'll see.
Keep dreaming, buddy.
So I know we talked about quarterbacks last week, but I want to bring it up because I was actually scrolling Twitter today and saw Evan Roberts post a list. I think he pretty much called it the Jets QB big board. I just wanted to rattle off these 25 names to you. It doesn't have to be conversations about every single one, but I just wanted to rattle them off. He has them in this order.
You name them off, and I'll just give my instant reaction.
Okay, that works. Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Derek Carr.
No.
Kyler Murray.
Ugh.
Tua.
Oh.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, but it depends.
Will Levis.
I mean, that's like a drunk bullet shot there.
It's like a tank commander if I've ever
seen
it. Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Ex-co-host Pat Winters, friends with Kenny Pickett now, asked about the Jets QB job. He said, yeah, fuck it. Real story.
Wait, really? Recently?
Yeah, he joined Pat's golf club in Florida. So,
all right.
Yeah, he texted me today. He was like, yep, with Kenny again. I'm like, okay.
Hell yeah.
So I would take him, yeah.
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor.
No.
Sam Howell.
Maybe.
Daniel Jones.
That's not happening.
Trey Lance.
Drunk.
Tyler Huntley.
Drunk.
Kirk Cousins.
Fine. It's like McCown, kind of.
Carson Wentz.
Hammered.
Russell Wilson.
Blacked out drunk.
Marcus.
Is that what we're doing it now? Doing how many shots?
Marcus Mariota.
Buzzed.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hammered.
Teddy Bridgewater.
He's a coach.
Joe Flacco.
It would be his 5th tenure on the Jets, so maybe.
This is the last name, but I have another name. Aaron Rodgers. I
would have to be on drugs, I think.
And then one that surfaced today, Andy Dalton.
It's like one of those ones where it's like alarming that it's like one of the better options, like just pure like stability and play wise. Like he's not that bad. He started games last year, right? He's like not that bad.
He's 38. He hasn't had a starting gig in quite a while, but
maybe he developed into something.
Schefter also tweets like, yeah, he's available like for trade. And I'm like, in 2026, he's available for trade? Like, I don't know if I really want to.
Good backup, right?
No, I know. But
realistically, like of the realistic options that you just named, I would be all over like a Tanner McKee for like a 4th round, 5th. He's not going to cost much. Tanner McKee. And then like you take like a nice little like Garrett Nussmeier swing and then have like Tyrod Taylor or something. I think that's like a decent room.
Yeah, if you go with like a McKee the thing I like about McKee a lot, and you could say, oh, well, he has not really done anything in the NFL. How could you like him? Well, he's been sitting in a system in Philadelphia for years now. So you're kind of getting that guy who's sat. Kind of what I've wanted this whole time is to, if we get a quarterback in the draft, do not play him. I want him sitting the whole season, depending on who it is. Obviously, if it was Mendoza, I'd start him right away. But you're getting kind of that guy who's sat behind someone who's won a Super Bowl. He has a really good build for a quarterback. And honestly, what do you have to lose if, I guess if you're glad you have your job to lose, but for us as fans, what do you have to lose? Just another losing season to land a Sarge Manning? Like, I don't really care. So, but yeah, I agree with you. If it's going to be like a Tanner McKee, who technically doesn't really have starting experience, and you pair him with a rookie, you're going to need like a true veteran in the room to oversee everything and kind of lead the way. But
yeah, and
I would like that.
Dude, he's almost like kind of like a fun little mystery box. He's 6'6", not very mobile. He's like kind of a statue, but this is like the move that they should have made last year with Tanner Engstrand in his offense. Like, he's kind of like I don't want to say golf, but like they at least have similar play styles, right? Like you could see the vision. Golf doesn't move. Tanner McKee's tall guy, can see over the line of scrimmage, and I'd like to think he's somewhat of an accurate thrower. I have no idea. I'm not a Tanner McKee expert. It's just like more so exactly like you said. He's sat. I don't know what he is, and it's like intriguing. Like I know what Andy Dalton is. He's 38. I know what Kirk Cousins is. He's 38. I know what Jacoby Brissett is. I just want somebody that's like Davis Mills. That should have been on the list too. Like, why not? I don't know why they would trade him, but like, like it's somebody that like maybe this guy could be here for like 2 years, 3 years, maybe, and kind of just like steer the ship for a little bit, build up the defense, and you have a good running game and see what you can do, rather than a 38-year-old that is clearly a 1-year gig. And I think personally, Joey, I think we're going to see like some sort of multi-year at least swing, because like I don't know, man. Like I go to a lot of games and I'm not going to go to like any of them if the starting quarterback is Andy Dalton. This is what it is. I have no interest. They're not going to I'll watch from home, avoid the traffic, and hope for a high quarterback draft pick.
And I think to that point though, I really think there's like 4 names on the list that are going to be like realistically, if I'm sitting there and I'm Aaron Glenn. I'm not counting Malik Willis because they're not getting Malik Willis. Derek Carr, Kyler Murray.
I want to talk about that for a second too after this.
Okay. Here's who I think that they're looking at realistically here. Derek Carr, Kyler Murray. I'm just reading down the list here. I think Marcus Mariota, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Andy Dalton. Those are the 5 names.
Oh,
because like I know people are going to say, well, Kyler Murray's definitely not going to happen. This guy's desperate for his job. This kid was a number 1 overall pick. If I'm Aaron Glenn, I'm like, I could coach him up and hopefully Frank Reich could help out and he could be what he once was early on in his career.
Put his Xbox in a fucking safe so he can't get to it.
I know it's a disaster, but you're staring down the barrel of not having a head coaching job anymore. So I'm just, as fun as the Tanner McKee discourse is and how much we'd like to see it, I just can't see them going out like that. I really can't.
It's tough though, because like, are they going to go out with Kyler Murray? Like, I could see your point for Derek Carr. Oh, like Derek Carr makes a lot of sense for if you're Aaron Glenn, right? Like,
yeah, but like even him, been out of the game for a year.
Yeah,
his arm is a noodle at this point.
There's no perfect answer. If Kyler Murray was like a great like locker room presence, he would be the obvious answer. Tua is that real? I don't know. Like, probably not a bad option if you're Aaron Glenn.
No,
it's very stinky, dude. I don't like it at all.
You were going to say something about Malik, though.
I can see the rationale of not wanting to get more expensive at the quarterback position, right? They did it with A-Rod. They did it with Fields. They're paying a lot of money. They probably want to get a little cheaper there, have like a nice like bridge guy. Why would you not be interested in Malik Willis? It doesn't make sense. You have a shit ton of money. This is the number 1 guy that like, is on the open market. And it's very different from like Sam Darnold last year. He played a full year, threw like 38 touchdowns, whatever. But I don't know, man. If you're going to take like a fucking swing, are you going to do that or Ty Simpson or, I just don't want to rule it out yet. I don't think I'm ready to rule it out.
I'm not ruling it out. I just don't think he'll come here. On top of that, it's funny how quarterbacks can objectively stink early on in their career as a high draft pick, go somewhere else, sit in a good system, start 3 games. In his case, he started 4 games, played well in all 4. Now he's going to make $30 million a year.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It's crazy how it works in the NFL, and it's crazy how desperate teams like the Jets are to pay someone like this $25, $30 million a year for, it's a quarter of a season sample size. Think about that.
Is he Darnold or is he Matt Flynn? It could be either one. I have no idea.
It literally could be either way. It really is crazy. So, yeah, we can talk about quarterbacks for hours here. I want to get some of your outlook on just with the combine this week and some of the pressers now. And you had Arvell Reese speak today, David Bailey talk about, Vel Reese. Any more thoughts about number 2? Any thoughts change yet with the guys walking up to the podium? I know we had Mel Kiper drop a mock draft this week where he had Jets taking Caleb Downs at 2. What are your thoughts? Anything change in a week's time?
No, this is gonna be a boring one for me, man. Like, I think it's still just gonna be Arvell Reese. And I was joking around that he was mogging at the combine that ruffled some feathers. But I don't know, man. I watch the tape. I see a guy that just moves absolutely different, and I think as these tests, we're filming this on Wednesday night. I just think that we're going to see that he's going to run like a 4 something on the 40. His shuttle's going to be crazy, and he's probably going to jump out of the gym, man. And I think in like 2 days, a lot of people are going to be on the Vel Reese train. Bain not participating is disappointing, but him not having a lineup or getting a haircut before the combine makes me think that he's a fucking dog. So like, look, they can't really fuck this up. I think you're going to get like a good player regardless. But, I saw some like Darren Lee comparisons for Arvell Reese, and we're obviously on the field.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, Darren Lee was like a safety transition into a middle linebacker. Reese is like a middle linebacker that is like oozing with potential at edge. So I don't really see it. He's like a different kind of tweener. So I don't know, man. I just think you're getting, at worst, a fucking awesome off-ball linebacker, and at best, you're getting a freak edge that's pretty good at rushing the passer that you can move all around as a chess piece on your defense. So,
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of talk too about. It is not confirmed that the Jets are running a base 3-4 defense. By the way, right? Like that's not confirmed.
No, I think it's gonna be a mixed base, right?
It's just like a speculation. Like I don't know. And I saw some of this discourse on Twitter about talking about, would you pick guys based on your scheme or if they're just amazing freak athletes? Like if Micah Parsons doesn't fit your scheme, are you not going to take them? Like, no, you're going to take really good players, especially in the top 5. My hot take, I don't know if this is a hot take. I honestly don't think it is. I would take Caleb Downs over David Bailey. I would. I don't care. Yeah. I understand that safety is a premium position and you don't really need, it's a luxury and all this stuff, but I'm really down on David Bailey. I really am.
Are you up on Downs?
I'm up on Downs. And the other thing is like, oh my God, how could you do that? For a team to take him at 4 or 5, like I don't really think there's that. Now, that being said, if I have to pick between Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs, I am taking Arvell Reese. I'm not saying that I'm taking Downs over Reese, but I just think if I had the option between those two and Arvell Reese was gone and Mendoza was gone in some crazy world, then I would probably take him.
I mean, hey, look, you're taking a slam dunk safety who, he's basically bust proof. And David Bailey is going to be like 23 at the start of the season. I don't know how he's going to test. This is going to be an interesting week for him. I don't think he's like a fucking specimen like Arvell Reese is. So we'll see, man. This is going to be a very interesting week as to how Bailey and Reese, kind of show where they are. They can separate themselves from one another because, Bailey's tape plus like a really good combine. Ooh, that's a good prospect, man. So we'll see.
I know. All right, let's move on to some questions to wrap it up here. We're pushing 30 minutes. So I will go through not all of these, but just some of them. I'll start off with our guy at PSU Joe 11. QB room of Cousins, Al, or Tyrod. Any issues with that, Tom?
God, I know. I mean, I'm gonna guess. I know PSU Joe is a huge Penn State fan, so he's probably pretty high on Aller. I have issue with that room. I think that's pretty. If your big swing is Drew Aller, it's kind of tough. He's coming off the injury in a pretty mediocre year at Penn State. I see the vision. I just think that's the wrong developmental guy. I'm sorry, Joe. You definitely watched him more than me. So, if you're more confident, then listen. I'm on the train.
Yes, I agree with that. Aller, just having him as your rookie just doesn't make me feel great. Just because
came out, man. Dante Moore should have came out. Drew Aller would have been top 3 pick to the Giants if he came out, and now we're uncomfortable with him in the 4th.
I like this question a lot. At DA_Rosario, who is the prospect that'll make you just absolutely lose your mind if we take them at 2 And then if we take them at 16, so who's that
That's a
guy that
good
you're
question.
just? That is a great question. I don't particularly have an answer
Like
right
mad,
now.
right?
Yeah, like not good.
Okay. I think at number 16. Oh God, it's like kind of tough because like I would say like Peter Woods, but like I think he's like a pretty good prospect. Clemson was a shit show. Maybe like Caden McDonald if they take him at 16. I think that's pretty like lame duck. If you want to bolster the trenches, I think you could just do it. At 33 or 44, you have a shit ton of draft capital to do it. I think they need to take a receiver. And on that token, if they take a receiver at 2, I'd be pretty fucking pissed because I think one of Denzel Boston, worst case, one of Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, or Carnell Tate, they're going to be one of them is going to be there at 16. I have a very weird feeling, Joey, that it's going to be Jordan Tyson because of his medicals. And I just think like if one of those guys slipped to 16, I don't care if you don't agree with Tyson's medicals. Take him, dude. Just take him. Like same thing as Will Johnson falling out of Michigan at corner and going to the Cardinals in the second round. If the guy's a baller, dude, take him. And I just don't agree with taking one at 2. Like Mekhi Lemon at 2 would be blasphemy to me. Same as like Carnell Tate, and Tyson's not going at 2. So there's some like discourse about that. I'm not on that train. I don't think you take your number 2 receiver at number 2. And Carnell Tate's comp is like T. Higgins. T. Higgins at number 2 overall. I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of just talked me. I didn't really have a dead set answer at 2, but you kind of just talked me into that. Also, like, I hate to. This is kind of countering my point here, but you bring in, Garrett Wilson, Carnell Tate at 2, 80 Mitchell with like Andy Dalton throwing the ball, or like Marcus Mariota. Like, I'm going to be pretty mad if these guys get fired and we just have this and they didn't address the defense at number 2, especially with some of the prospects. So I think I would be pretty mad with the receiver at number 2. At number 16, I honestly do think if they took an offensive lineman, I would be pretty effing mad. I'm not going to lie to you. Couple like we talked about earlier, you have a pretty good base even if you lose AVT and Simpson. You can patch that up in free agency, and that's what happened?
Who even are though? I haven't even looked, dude.
In the draft or free agency?
Yeah, in the draft.
I think the kid from Penn State was the kid who was mocked to us.
Yeah.
In Miami, there's a
Lomu, the Utah tackles. I know. There's a few, but like I have not done any research on the fucking offensive line class because I don't think we need one. So I'm with you.
No, that would actually make me very angry. So that was actually a really good question. Again, I think the Jets could go a couple different ways at 2, and I'd be pretty okay with it. So
yeah, do the combine question and let's wrap. I think that's a good one.
Right. We'll end with this. At Will C 5337. What combine event would you perform better than the average person at, and what would be your worst?
Okay, so wait, what are the drills? We have the 40, the bench press.
Yeah, the cone drill. You have
drill.
God, there's so many. Let me guess.
What is the average person? That's the question. Because like I looked it up. I chat GPT'd it. Let me see if I can show you this. I chat GPT'd what the average like US male looks like. It was just some like jacked stud. I was like, no shot. That's the average male. Like, give me some statistics. Like, I don't know why it gave me a picture of a guy. And it's 5'9", 200 pounds with 28% body fat.
Oh Jesus! All right, I feel pretty good about that. 40-yard dash, bench press, 225. I have never hit 225. Vertical jump, broad jump, recone drill, 20-yard shuttle, and 60-yard shuttle.
Okay, just go through one by one. We'll say yes or no. And we'll see we'll do like a random guy, not an average 5'9".
I mean, 40-yard dash, I'm pretty damn slow. I don't know about you, but
I don't know. I think I'd win against like a fucking average dude.
5'9", 200, 28% body.
Yeah, I mean, I'm smoking that guy, right? I don't know. But like bench press, right? This guy has shorter arms. So like for reference, I'm 6'2", 190, right? What are you?
I am 5'11", 175.
Okay, so like they're probably beating us in bench press, dude.
Probably, yeah. But
Like
that's fine.
realistically, this guy probably can get up to 25 twice.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. We lose there. Vertical jump. I mean,
Smoking him.
I don't know, dude. You can't even fit a newspaper under my vertical jump. So,
I can touch rim. Can you touch rim?
probably not. I haven't tried in a bit.
So I think I'm beating him.
Can't confidently say that I am. Broad jump. Feel pretty good about that though.
Smoking him.
Yeah, broad jump. I'm winning that. 3-cone drill. I'm also smoking him.
Smoking him. And by the way, we're 28 years old. Like we're in our athletic primes, pretty much. So I don't know how old this cat is, but
Then the 20 and 60-yard shuttle.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, if you saw it, you know what it is. It's hard to explain. It's like an agility test, essentially.
I'm gonna say he might get me there.
No, I think you're gonna win that. I want you to go look up the shuttle after this.
Okay, all right.
I think you'll get it. But yeah, we'll wrap it there. I know this is
Just us saying we'd smoke this hypothetical person and everything.
yeah, us kind of breaking down our body weight and next week we're gonna actually do the physical body fat percentage on our stomachs and see what we're both coming in at. Probably better than the average though. So
I hope so. We work out.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter, First Class Pod with the 1 as the I. Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. We appreciate you guys listening, and we will talk to you guys next week. See you.